All right, welcome to day two. Um, I hope yesterday was fruitful. I hope you guys got a lot out of yesterday, and I hope today we end up getting a lot, and maybe even a lot more than what we did yesterday. So let's see how things went. As we transfer in today, I want to go through and just find out from you specifically around your evaluation from yesterday. Yes, last night and this morning, I've had a chance to read through all the comments that were made on the evaluations. I want to get a perspective from you. Now, if for some reason you didn't have an evaluation yesterday, or you and your franchise owner weren't able to connect, then at least leave me with some idea about what you felt like you got out of class yesterday. But I really want to hear how the evaluations went. What do you feel like you did well? Where do you feel like you still need work? I have everybody's information based on comments, but let's hear from you guys. And let's see, Dylan, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I went and got my test done. I am negative on COVID, so I didn't do an evaluation, but it looks like it's just a cold or a flu. Um, as far as what I took away, my big concern, at least from my appointments that I've ran so far, and I talked with Tammy over the phone, was recovering from a negative pre-close. I know a lot of the times when we're going based off of the steps, it's kind of awkward if they give you a negative pre-close, if you're asking them again, aside from price, stuff like this. And then also making them love the product. I know that's something I tried to talk to with Owen yesterday about being confident and trying to be an expert. But a lot of times, at least in two of the first 6 appointments I ran, I had wife and husband arguing over which one looked better, which one do we want to put in the house. And obviously I can't, make that decision for them, but I believe I lost those 2 sales because they couldn't decide on a product. And then, those are, I think, my 2 big things I'm concerned about is negative pre-close answers. And then how do you overcome that issue where they're not making or falling in love with any of the products?
Okay, good. Let's see, Leanne.
So the whole role play thing freaks me out. I am so not good with it.
Good.
Yeah, it's not fun for me. So it just makes it a little bit harder for me to come up with the small talk and breaking it. So I'll just have to write that down. But other than that, just trying to remember the different steps, keeping the steps in order, and yeah, basically that's it. Keeping the steps in order and trying to follow them as close as I can. So that's going to take a bit for me to remember all those and the questions and things like that.
Okay. All right, let's see. How about Wendy and Courtney?
I'll let you go.
Good morning, gang. What did I learn? I learned, well, 2 things. I'm the type of guy who, my mom always said I could talk to a fence post. That being said, I've never done any kind of role play before in any job that I've ever had before. So, which isn't that big of a problem, but talking to the group, knowing that they know what I'm missing, was what was off-putting. And then I just realized no matter how much you don't know enough. But that being said, real positive, and it's got me inspired to just give it hell again today. So that's it.
Okay. So what do you feel like well, I think Wendy did the role play yesterday, right?
No, he did.
Okay, because I think, who were you with? Were you with Cassandra?
Ron.
Savannah and Ron.
Yeah.
With Ron. I think Ron might have put Wendy's name at the top of the evaluation because I was confused by, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Courtney did the role play and I just observed.
Okay. So Courtney, what do you feel like, here, this was my strength. I did this really well. This is something that I feel like I really need to work on.
Well, I think it was obvious. just what I had focused on before going into that. So, and it definitely magnified the weaknesses that I hadn't. Which is great because it just, it just mastery of it all. And just memorization of the lines, where to put them so much, especially after just trying, working so much on step 8 for a few hours before that. But pretty good about the whole thing.
Okay. Wendy, how about you?
It was really interesting watching both the people that role played struggle through it. Like, I've done a ton of role play. I know how hard it is, no matter how well you think you know it. Like, you get in that situation, your mind goes blank. Hopefully yesterday got a lot out of the closing steps, and especially the breakdown of, is it payment, is it interest, is it this, and the steps to kind of like address that. I thought was really good for me, and we kind of played with that last night, and it was really helpful to kind of have that breakdown.
Good. Good. All right, let's see, John.
I would say overall, it went pretty well. I would say if I'd improve any area, it would be a little bit for every single area. I mean, the closing went well as well, but I just feel like I can do a little better in each area. And of course, you can never stop improving. So it's just a matter of, making sure that I'm getting better and better every time that I do it.
Good. Good. Christine.
Me, like Courtney, I have the gift of gab, and I can be very disarming. So building rapport with clients is super easy for me. Asking closing questions, I'm never afraid of that. So that's easy too. I'm an interior designer by trade. So finding that item that sparks joy in their heart is pretty easy for me to do too. But I agree with Wendy, like, nobody likes to role play. It's not fun. And you do forget what you're about to say, but getting the steps in order, I think, is just practice. It's practice and more practice and more practice.
Nice. Let's see, Christine, do you mind if I give you a little constructive feedback?
Sure.
All right. So you mentioned that you're an interior designer by trade, and I think there's a couple more people on the call that have that background. One thing that have you done flooring before?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
You mean as a job? Right. No.
Yeah. All right. So one thing, I'm not saying this is you. I'm saying I've seen this with other interior designers. Okay. One thing that can be problematic with interior designers is that you have in your mind a very specific color of a gray beige mix. This is exactly what I'm looking for, and it's going to be perfect against these walls. And you go out to the van and you don't see the one you see 3 or 4 that are really, really close, but not the one that's exactly right. And then a lot of times interior designers spend the next 2 weeks driving around town trying to find that perfect color.
No, that won't be me.
And in that 2-week period of time, they've already signed with somebody else. So be careful that you don't let the perfection get in the way of, hey, you know what, this is actually pretty good.
No, that's not me, because I always say I'm actually a salesperson that just happens to be an interior designer. So sales is strong for me, and that's how I always play the role.
Perfect. Good. Thank you. Robbie, how about with you? I got a whole novel from Kent this morning. Robbie, can you hear us? All right, I'll come back to Robbie then. How about Chris?
Hey, good morning. I think I did decent on the step 7 and 8, because we did spend time on it yesterday, and I thought yesterday's training was great. But I found myself struggling through going through the slide presentation. I need to work on this on the slides.
Okay. All right. Denise.
So first thing I want to say is yesterday's class was definitely my favorite of all of our time together. It really felt yesterday like some of the things that I feel like I had bad habits from previous roles, maybe. I figured out and some things started to click. For example, just how to do the options the right way. Instead of showing all 3 options in the beginning, to keep 2 of those, you know, in my hip pocket to use as a closing tool later. That's very different from how I've been trained at the other places that I've worked in flooring. So I really like that. And it was just, I know it sounds like a very small detail, but that was huge when it clicked in my head, how to use that. So
Good.
thanks for that.
Good. Jason,
First of all, check it out. We got the whole office ready to go. Excited.
Good stuff.
The call for me, I think the setup call was where I really need to improve, and just getting to be able to talk to the person on the other side of the setup call and get to know more about them, and you know, taking good notes so that I can refer back to that later. I think a lot of stuff will fall into place if I can really get a better setup call. But then, you know, obviously there's still a lot of work that I need to dig into why certain things may not work, instead of just going to the next option, and doing better with the transitions in the company story. I don't think I had a very good opening slide, but Joe did a really good job. He just talked to me for a couple minutes and then basically said, that's your opening slide right there. Just put that together. And so I have a lot more confidence in being able to start that company story off now. So I think that was something that really, really good that came out of the coaching last night.
good. Let's see, Isaac.
I think I did well with taking the feedback and making changes right away. So I totally bombed the setup call the first time, did really well in the second. The transitions on the company story, need to work on that. Also, I'm one of those that is more task oriented, and then the more nervous I am, the faster I talk. So forcing myself to slow down through each of those steps is going to be huge for me as well. But yeah, I would agree with what everybody else has said. Yesterday was probably the best class that we've had so far. Taking all the nuts and bolts and putting it together into usable steps was great. So looking forward to more of that.
Good. Brad.
Hey, yeah, good morning. So it definitely felt choppy. And like the intro call and stuff like that, I think putting it all together is just like via Zoom is always challenging. I'm more of a face-to-face type person, I guess. But the feedback that I got was really good, like actually bringing the customer into the company story and asking questions while talking about the company story, from what Jackie suggested, because I talk fast as well. So that might help slow me down a little bit. So overall, I think it was a good experience.
Good. Let's see, how about Tatiana and Josh?
Yeah, I think Josh is to get one, but he was the one who was completing the evaluations yesterday. I was a silent listener. We did discuss it right after that. I think the biggest items that he struggled with is the company story. Instead of reading the slides, kind of trying to go over it with his words, transitioning from slide to slide, and just following the steps. He did a little bit of everything in each step, but that's something that he feels he needs to improve on.
Nice. Carrie.
Yeah, I think what I learned most, I was able to do my practice round with the owner, and I think it went pretty well overall. I have the company story down pretty well, but I think I need to authenticate it to be more personable, so it seems a little more real and authentic to me and to the customer, kind of thing, instead of just kind of going through it. And
Okay.
And I always do 3 options, but from what we learned yesterday, I'm going to implement doing a couple options per each option. And so that's what I took away from yesterday. I didn't know that you know, we were supposed to present option one first and then do the rest kind of from there. So I'm gonna work on that. We have an appointment tonight, so we'll see.
Good, good. All right, let's go back to Robbie. Robbie, can you hear us now?
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Now we got you. Yep.
So, yeah, a little bit of what Carrie was mentioning as far as having the options available and not feeling like I'm fumbling around a little bit in front of the customer. But no, the company story I'm pretty comfortable with. Measurements were, because it was a different design sort of process with my previous employer, it was, so I'm getting a little bit better with that. But I think those are the couple of things that I still need to kind of fine tune.
Okay. All right, good. Let's go to Drew. Drew, can you hear? There he is.
Yeah, I'm here. It took me a minute to unmute it. The biggest dilemma that I had was keeping it in order. It was kind of all over the place. And then it's obviously a little bit harder to do it over the phone or via Zoom. So it should be a little bit easier to do it, build like a rapport with someone in person and home. There's a few easier ways to bring up, topic of conversation. You can kind of find something around their house. You can find an entrance, a common denominator between you and the person with. But pretty much just keeping it in order, in track, doing it when I'm supposed to do it. That was one of the more difficult things for me.
Okay. All right, let's see. Christian, you were sort of in and out some yesterday. Any big takeaways from you yesterday?
Yeah, I just, like I said, I've gone through this kind of sales process before on all the steps. So like watching you guys do the role playing was very familiar. And then just like, I didn't get a chance to connect with my franchisee yesterday, but just from experience, one of the challenges of just going through all the steps and everything is, again, like, yeah, keeping it in order, sticking to it, even though it feels like, oh, this isn't going to work, and just kind of making it personable, personalize it for every single customer. And then, yeah, just basically not being afraid to, like at the very end, no matter what the response is, just asking for the business.
Nice. Let's see, Owen, how did your evaluation go yesterday?
Yeah, I thought overall it was good. I felt like I did well with the setup call. Definitely botched the warm up the first time, but did better the second time. A little bit uncomfortable with the transition from warm up to inspection, but that'll take some practice. But the one thing that I guess my biggest positive was I didn't see the at the bottom of the email, Arlen, that we were supposed to draw up the rooms and stuff ahead of time. So because Cassandra asked me to do it while she was going with John, and I was able to do it very quickly, and I actually hit on the same numbers as John for the first option and was within a couple $100 on the next two. So that was encouraging, because that's kind of one of my big worries, is just like getting into a customer's home and like not being able to give them a price.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. Good. Okay, Patrick. I know it was Isaac that went through the evaluation. Any big takeaways for you from yesterday?
Yeah, kind of as an observer, getting the opportunity to watch both Courtney and Isaac, it's good to see, the different approaches to things. I think the transitions are common areas of getting stuck. I think that's been brought up a couple times. And also the company story, I think it'll be a lot easier once everybody's able to really make it their own. Right now, it feels like, Four Companies International story. And once we start having more experience, it'll become our story as well. And so we can kind of bring that and make it more conversational. So I look forward to that being the case.
100%. Absolutely. Let's see, Antonio, if you're with us, any feedback from you for yesterday? Give him a second. All right. Zuri. how's your
Yes.
first 8 inches of snow?
Oh, I was late because I was, taking out the snow in the driveway so my wife can leave. I'm not liking the snow too much. No. So what was the question? Because I was a little
All
bit
right,
late.
so, yeah, so, how was the evaluation that you went through yesterday, and what were some of the big things that you learned from your evaluation?
I need to practice. I need to maybe not think too much what I like the points and just, like let go. Because yesterday I didn't do very well because I was just thinking like I shouldn't miss like one point or the other point. So maybe I just, because it didn't feel natural, I wouldn't buy it from myself if I was like the salesman. So I need to do it more my own, like my words, and not think about like the next step, the next step, the next step. Just like doing a flow. And I know it's like in a second it's gonna click and it's gonna be my story and my pitch.
100%. Good. Let's see, Antonio, any big takeaways from you for yesterday? Antonio, can you hear us? We don't hear you. Maybe it's a double mute. All right, while he figures that out, did I miss anybody? I don't think so. Okay, I'll let Antonio continue to work on his audio, and in the meantime, let me set up where I want us to start today. So I'm going to transfer to the whiteboard real quick, but I'm not going to stay there very long.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello.
There he is. Yes, good. Now we have you.
Yeah.
So feedback from you for yesterday.
We're getting better. We're getting better. It's a lot practice. And one of the girls was saying that everything, we start doing the presentation and everything comes in front of us, and then sometimes we get frustrated, but it all takes practice. It's like anything, it's practice, 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 and then everything will come up easier.
Nice.
Go to the range, go to the golf range more often so you can practice better.
Nice. Nice. Okay, so let me share with you where we're going to start today. I come back to this slide just so that we can, again, frame in our minds what the flow looks like, right? Because there's been several people that have talked about just making sure that we put the steps in the right order. I know that there's other sales processes out there where you walk in and you go through and show the product first and then the company story, or maybe you come in and the very first thing you do is the company story. And there is a rhyme and a reason for why this one is designed the way that it is. And I'm unless somebody has questions about that, I'm not going to go into that in detail because that gets into the really, really technical side of the sales system, which I can do, but it doesn't seem fruitful for us. So instead, where I want us to spend some time this morning is I want to show you two paths that we're gonna explore, okay? And we won't explore both of them today. We will end up exploring one of them today in detail, and then we'll see how the time plays out, but for sure we'll explore both of these. The first path that I want to show you is we think about the setup call and the warm-up. And the setup call and the warm-up, this is where we're building rapport with the customer, right? This is where we are learning about the customer. We're learning who they are as a person. And we're learning at the end of the warm-up, we're learning what objection they have. What BS reason are they going to give me here in about 45 minutes for why they don't want to buy? Okay. So if I were to pull the curtain aside and sort of look behind the curtain, I genuinely want to get to know this person, but let's be honest, I'm also going to use the information they give me, okay? So the warm-up is really, really key for this. Now, when I take this warm-up, I take this step 1, where does all that information come back? So I learned that I have a customer that this customer is a utility lineman. You know, his job is he climbs up electric poles, and when storms come through the area, he's really busy with storms, and he gets on the emergency team. He's got 3 kids, and in his free time, he loves spending time with his kids. He loves to hunt. He's big runner and works out and all this stuff. I learned all this stuff about this customer of mine. When is that really, really important for me to know?
5,
3, 6, and 8.
Well, 3, not so much 3, 6, and 8. I'm going to pull this stuff out when I get to the company story. So part of what some of the feedback that you guys have had today, this morning, has been, I need to make the company story mine. It feels like it's Floor Covering International's, and I need to make the company story mine. And I agree with that 110%, 100%, right? It absolutely has to be yours. But when you make the company story yours, you're only halfway there. The other half of that picture is making the company story personal to the customer that you're talking to. So if I'm talking to a utility lineman that has 3 kids, that loves spending time with the kids, that hunts and fishes and spends time working out and running and all those things, is there a particular slide in the company story that you think he's going to resonate with more than others? What do you think?
We make it easy so that you can spend more time hunting, fishing, hanging out with the kids.
Might as well, right? Okay, that's one place. I mean, you could probably pick 6 or 8 different slides that you could personally, that you could dial in for this particular customer. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of role play here. I'm gonna break you guys up into breakout rooms, and I'm gonna try to put like 3 groups together at a time. And this is going to be a little bit, you guys are going to have to self-manage the time a little bit. But what I want to do is I'm going to try to put 3 together as best as possible. So let's just say this may not work out because I let the system pick the people at random. Okay, but let's just say that I've got John and I've got Leanne and I've got Chris. Let's say that I've got the 3 of you in a group together. Okay, so one of you is going to pretend to be the DA, one of you is going to pretend to be the customer, one of you is going to be an observer, okay, and then you guys are going to warm up. That's all I want you to do is do a warm up. And I don't want you to pretend to be somebody that you're not. Just be you, okay? This is going to give you the opportunity to force yourself to make small talk with somebody. And yes, I agree, it is much harder to do on Zoom than it is in person, but if you can do it here, it's going to make it easier in front of the customer, right? So then, give yourself about 10 minutes. I don't want to rush this. Give yourself about 10 minutes to warm up this way, and then switch. So now, John becomes the DA, and Leanne becomes the customer, and now Chris becomes the observer, and we're going to give you about 10 minutes there, and then you're going to switch again. Okay, so everybody has an opportunity to be the design associate that's driving the conversation. Everybody has the opportunity to be the customer, and everybody has the opportunity to sit back and observe. Now, what is the observer doing? The observer is really there to give really, really good feedback to whoever's being the DA. So, for example, I'm talking to my fictitious customer that I made up, and I've found all this stuff out about him, and now I feel like I'm ready to move on. All right, then the observer might ask, okay, but do the kids hunt with, did you find out, do the kids hunt with you? Do the kids work out with you? When you're playing with the kids, is that a different activity? It's a way of just getting to know somebody deeper. So a lot of people say, oh, I can warm up with anybody. And then when we start doing this, it's like, well, crap, I didn't actually learn anything about them. I just talked the whole time. Getting a good warm up is more about being able to ask good questions and keep the conversation going rather than just whether or not I can talk to, I can talk to a brick. All right, so this is what we're going to do. I want to go through this together like this. And then once you've had an opportunity, like I said, I'm gonna give you guys about 30 minutes in this group, okay? And once you guys have had about 30 minutes in the group, then just like I said, you're gonna self-manage your time. Then take about 15 minutes to have a break. Go get something to drink, bathroom break, whatever you need. So this is 30 minutes. Then you got 15 minutes to do phone calls or whatever else. So let's see, it is currently 11:30 on my clock. That means I'm going to pull everybody back into the big room, so to speak, at 12:15 my time. Okay? Make sense?
Arlen, do you want Courtney on his own computer? Would that be easier?
No, you two can be in the same room. That's okay. That's
Okay,
okay.
just
And
make
yeah, I mean, that's fine. You guys will have to sort of manage through that. All right, so now the fun part, setting up the breakout rooms. And I do this random. I don't pick who's going to be in what room. But I do look to see. So I've got at least 3 people in every room. Is there somebody that in the next 30 minutes is going to have to step out? Nope. All right, then this should work. I'm still at work. Look, I'm still here. If you guys need help in the breakout room, you can ask for me to come in and I'll join you. If somebody drops out, if their internet connection breaks or something, I will be here to push you back into a room. If you don't mind, pay attention to what room number. Oh, I do need to do this. The tablet.
So
and
Arlen, we're pretty much in step 1.
You're staying in step 1. Yep. All we're doing. Gonna be one room with 4. Okay, though. What? Let me do this. All right, there's a couple of rooms that only have 2, and that's okay. That'll give you a little extra time. I'd rather do that than have 4 people in a room. So that's 2. That's 3, 3, 3, 2, 3, 2. And then the tablet and whiteboard are by themselves. Okay, good. So this should work. So it's taken me a couple of minutes to do this, so I'm just going to revise this a little bit. We'll come back in 30 minutes, 15 minutes. It's now 11:35. We'll come back together at 12:20. All right, off we go.
And behind room 3, we have
Brad and Robbie, you guys should have a note on your screen to join the breakout room.
Bad contractor, everything is wrong. And so I thought like that felt very validating as a customer to have someone recognize that, like, you've already been through some bad experiences. Let's make sure another one doesn't happen.
Nice, nice, good. All right, so now put yourself in the DA seat. How did it feel trying to personalize it?
I think one of the things, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say trying to personalize it, I thought was a good exercise, and it really emphasizes, you know, you need to do a good job in the warm up to make sure that you can personalize something. It really makes you try to put yourself in the shoes of the homeowner. Not just so that you can sell them something, but so that you can actually meet their needs and what they're looking for.
Good, good. Denise?
Well, I was telling the guys in my group, one of the things that I hear a lot in this area is just how hard it is to get anybody to even show up. That, you know, I hear it pretty much every house I go into. You know, I've called 5 people and you're the only one that showed up. So, you know, first of all, that bar is kind of low, but it's that BBB slide is just so easy to address that kind of an issue, right? Where we talk about, you know, how many of the people in the kind of business that I do, you know, just don't deliver what they say they're going to deliver. And that really sets us apart right there. I love that. And I love the piece that shows the 80% of people who choose the lowest bid have a really hard time getting their job completed, because it really strikes a chord with what people have been through, just kind of like what Wendy was saying.
Nice, nice.
I think
Love
what
it.
people are also very shocked about is when actually the appointment we're going on today, I said, and then we'll have numbers for you today. He said, today? I said, yes. Because a lot of times people don't get a quote for, you know, at least a week, if not more.
Nice.
So Arlen, do you think we could throw that somehow into or I guess we do that in the, you know, when we do the call, but I don't know, maybe could that?
Well, no, you absolutely could do that even in the company story. I mean, it's great in the setup call, but you could absolutely make that point in the company story.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, I mean, here's the beautiful thing about this. You could do any one of these on any slide, but now in my mind, I'm thinking about the new 5-star slide, because I love this slide, right? So the new 5-star slide, you could bring it up there and say, you know, one of the things that you talked to me about was the fact that nobody shows up. It's hard to get somebody to come out and give you a quote. When they give you a quote, it takes a week or 2 to get the numbers back from them. Imagine what it's going to look like if you go with somebody like that and, you know, they don't show up when they say they're going to show up. This is one of the ways we earn our stars, through a level of customer service that nobody else gives. So you could absolutely build that into a slide like that. You could do it on other slides too, but you could absolutely build it into a slide like that. Good. All right. So here's where we're at. We are currently at, what is it, 1:30 my time. I want to give you guys the opportunity to grab something to eat, to make some phone calls, to check emails, to do all that kind of stuff. I'll give you 45 minutes. When it's 2:15 on my clock, I'll bring everybody will come back. So like before, turn your cameras off. By 2:15, turn your cameras back on, and we will start back. Now, before we take off, this is important. We are going to dive into the tablet after 2:15, and I'm going to be using the newest version of InspireNet. Now, I think most of you know this. There is a version of InspireNet that is now available on the Google Play Store, right? Everybody knows that?
Yes.
Right? Okay, so if you have not updated to the new version, this would be a good time to do that. It's very simple. You go out to Google Play on your tablet, you search for InspireNet, it downloads right there, you log in, you sync it, you're ready to go. You're going to want to transfer over to that version, because it's going to update. And as things change, I mean, they've already pushed like 2 or 3 little tiny updates in the last week. Nobody even knows that there was an update made. Just when you log in, all of a sudden on Wi-Fi, it updates your tablet for you. It's brilliant. So it makes it really, really easy. I'm going to work in the new version of InspireNet this afternoon. And I mean, if you're using the old version, there might be some tiny changes, but it's okay. But I would encourage you to go ahead and make the change. So I'm pulling everybody back in at 2:15. You guys go get something to eat. Emails, phone calls, walk the dog, whatever you've got to do. And I'll see you guys back in about 45 minutes. Good, so let's move on. I think everybody's back. Turn on your cameras, everybody's here. I've got a couple with the blank cameras, we'll see when they jump in. So I do want to jump over to the tablet, okay? So I'm gonna share my tablet screen. And hopefully by now you guys have done enough exercises, you've done enough real appointments or whatever to now have a little bit of experience with the tablet, so that as we go through this, things like simple drawing we can move through pretty quick, and other stuff we can spend a little bit more time with. So you notice at the bottom of my tablet screen, I have two InspireNets. The third one over, so there's Zoom and eShare, and then there's InspireNet Mobile. The black and white InspireNet Mobile icon, that is the old InspireNet. The new InspireNet that you download from the Google Play Store is the one that's the multicolored one that's all the way over on the right-hand side, and that's the one that I'm going to go into, is the multicolored one. So now that I'm in here, I synced this morning, so we should be good there. Let's go to today, and I'm simply going to create a training task. So I'm going to hit the little plus button. So now I've got a training task, and I'm going to walk into this. I'm at the customer's house. I hit go. Yes, I want to start the appointment. So I have everything here that I need. It tells me what I'm going to do in terms of the warm-up. I've got my inspection prep. Everything's here. I hit the next button. How long have you been thinking about replacing your floors? And I can record that here. So I've been thinking about it for longer than a year. Good, long time. What made you decide to do it today? Oh, I'm not going to do it today. I've got to get other estimates. Okay, great. And then as I hand them after we move through in the inspection and everything, if I hand them the reference list, then I can mark down here that the customer agreed to make reference list calls. All right, so it's important to track this stuff because as you look at your success rate, and you can then go back later and say, well, how successful am I if I actually use a reference list versus not? And I mean, you've done it enough times both ways to be able to see the difference. The other really, really neat thing with the way this package is set up, the way the system is set up, is when I hit the next button here, I selected I need to get other estimates, so it tells me what my primary and secondary strategies are. So my primary strategy is in step 6. I've got to really educate the customer when it comes to buying the floors, and the secondary area strategy is step 4. So the company story is going to be really, really important. So if I'm going to go back one screen, if I didn't say I need to get other estimates, I said I'm waiting for my tax refund. So that's what they tell me. I'm not going to do it today. I'm waiting for my tax refund before I can do this. Okay, good. What is my strategy? Well, now the strategy changes. So yes, it's still important to find a good product for the customer, but my primary area of focus is going to be in step 8. So and what does that mean? Well, I'm going to show payment plans on how the customer can get the new flooring and whatever other projects they need to do. Or, excuse me, in this case, the tax refund. This is how I can show the customer that we can get the new floor and wait until later to pay for it. All right? Then the secondary area of focus is in step 2. I really need to establish myself as an expert so that my opinion counts when we get to that point. All right, so I just show you that because as when you capture the objection, the tablet is going to help you focus on the step that you really need to nail strong. That doesn't mean you get to skip everything else. It's there. I hit the next button again. This allows me to take my inspection video, which I can't do on Zoom. The tablet won't let me record a video and be on the Zoom at the same time, so I have to skip it for now, but this is when I would shoot my inspection video. I hit next and I start drawing. So when it comes to drawing, I know there were a couple of questions that came up yesterday around drawing. So a simple drawing, hit the square button. And I can simply tap the screen and we can put in a number, and let's put in 13. Oh, we'll make this room 13.5 by 16.8. Why not? Hit confirm. I'll call this a bedroom. I'm just going to leave it on the first floor. I can put a door in, that's fine. Yeah, that's enough. And I can go back to the floor plan. So just a simple bedroom. Now I want to draw a room, and I want to draw a room that has an angled wall. So this is really pretty straightforward. I'm going to hit the pencil button that says draw. Now, when I'm drawing a room, a lot of software that's out there, you hold your finger down and drag. This is not like that. In this, the way this software is written, you touch each corner of the room. And it doesn't matter if you're not touching it to scale. All you're trying to do is just get the corners roughly where they are. Because once you put the dimensions in, the tablet's going to correct the scale for you. So let's just say that I draw a room, and all I'm doing is I'm touching the screen to get each corner, touch the screen to get another corner, touch the screen to get another corner. And I purposely want this to have a little diagonal, so I'm not going to try to draw the last room. I'm going to hit the little check mark that says close shape, and now I've got that diagonal that's sitting there. Simple enough. And it's going to highlight for me the wall that it wants the dimensions for. So it wants that wall. That's going to be 5 feet 5 inches. And let's say this one is 13 feet 8 inches. And this one is 14 feet 6 inches. And as we come back, we'll make this one 8 feet 6 inches. And you'll notice that the tablet auto-corrects what this looks like and calculates for me that diagonal wall. So when I hit confirm, before I hit confirm, one other thing that I'll point out to you with this is when I do this wall, I'm purposely letting the tablet calculate the hardest wall. So the diagonal wall is going to be the hardest wall to draw. It's going to be the hardest wall to measure. And you'll notice whenever you do a drawing, when you do one of these rooms where you're doing the drawing and you're working your way around, the last wall, I always want the last wall to be the wall that I want the tablet to do. And then when I put the numbers in, I'm forcing the tablet to do the calculation for the last wall. Was there a question there?
So how do you do it when, so it gets skunky sometimes, and, you know, I can sit, because I just did it just now, everything was fine. But you're in the house, you're trying to do this, and the walls aren't quite lining up. So when you ask it to draw the last part, it'll say, sorry, your dimensions or, you know, the lines aren't quite right. And it's like, there's times when I've had to do it 4 or 5 times to get it to finally connect. And I don't want to spend that much time in the house trying to get a silly little line to connect.
So let me finish. Let me finish this one room, and then we'll mess some up. Okay, let's mess them up on purpose. Put a door in here. Good enough. Back to floor plan. That's all I need. Good. All right. So let's mess one up. Okay. So let's hit the draw button, and now I'm going to purposely mess one up. And what I'm going to do, this is a common mistake. Okay. I'm not saying you're making this mistake, but this is a common mistake.
Sure I am.
As I work around the tablet, you'll notice all I'm doing, and I know it's hard to see on camera, all I'm doing is touching the screen one time for each corner. But if I touch the screen twice for a corner, now I have actually drawn 2 walls, one on top of the other. Now when I come over here and I try to close the shape, I get this error that says shape is invalid. Because what I've done is I've actually drawn 2 walls on top of each other, and I didn't know that I did it because I double tapped. So this is not a double tap, it's a single tap.
Gotcha.
The other thing that can happen, let me cancel this room and we'll do another one. Another thing that can happen is, as I'm working my way around this, let's see, let's do this. I'm going to try to get this really, really close. This may or may not work. Oh, it did work. Okay, I didn't want that. I'm trying to make it mess up. Another thing that can happen is I can try to get this close and now close shape. and it did it, okay. I am trying to mess it up. What I'm trying to show you is that if you do this too small, that it will sometimes mess up on you. Try this again. I just try to do this really, really small. I can't get it to mess up. Anyway, if you try to make your shape where this last opening is too small, all right, I can't get it to do it, but if you make that last opening too small, sometimes you'll get the same error. Because the tablet, it's like, this is too close to really be another wall. So what I'm gonna do is, even if that last wall is really, really small, I'm gonna make the drawing, I'm gonna exaggerate it. So let's say I have a hallway here, and I would probably never do this, but what the heck? Close the shape. Now this is not what this hallway actually looks like. So this hallway is 30 feet long, and it's 5 feet on that end, and it's actually 24 feet. And let's see, that'd be 428, 2 feet. You notice that when I put these numbers in, it reshapes the hall to what it actually looks like. So when I'm doing my drawing, I'm not trying to make the hallway look exactly like what it's going to look like. I'm trying to get the corners in the right place, knowing that when I put the numbers in, it's going to reshape it to be right. I don't know if that helps anybody or not. So
It does.
if I have a corner where, this is really, really tight, and I'm trying to draw it and the tablet's not taking that, okay, don't worry about making it so tight. Just get the corners so that you have enough corners and they're more or less in the right place. And when you put the dimensions in, the tablet is going to auto correct, and it's going to scale it according to what the drawings should look like. All right, so let's confirm this one. We'll call this a hallway. Why not? I normally don't put doors in hallways. So for me, I know that the tablet has a function where you can share doors. It's right there, that middle button. And it's a waste of time because you'll end up spending a ton of time trying to draw duplicate doors and then share doors, and you'll drive yourself nuts trying to figure out where to put doors in hallways and stuff, and it's not worth it. I personally put doors in rooms, and then I align my drawing so that I can see where the door lines up in a hallway, if that makes sense. Okay.
Arlen, that makes sense, but do you end up with too much quarter round or baseboard? Do you end up just like taking that so that there's no extra just to account for that? Or do you just over order the trim?
I'm not worried about quarter round and baseboard. I'm really not.
Okay.
There was in one of the group meets last week or week before last, it might have been last week, one of the design associates in Texas put out there, he's like, I've got this piece of flexible trim, and I don't know what to put in for a cost. And I've got this $30,000 quote that I'm trying to put together, and I've got where the carpet and the towel come together. The customer wants it to be a curve rather than being straight. I'm not sure where to get the flexible trim from. I don't know how much to charge for it. So I put in the group me, how many feet are you talking about of flexible trim? Because it's like 10 feet. So you're holding up a $30,000 quote for what might be, at worst case, $50 worth of trim, let's not let that decimal point get in the way. So Jason, to bring it to your question, in this particular drawing, I might have what, 6 feet of extra quarter round? I don't care. I really don't care. And where I'm gonna get payback for that is, let's say in this bedroom, let's say up here in this bedroom, I drew this without drawing the closet, but I actually do need quarter round in the closet. So I sort of, in my mind, I sort of trade off. I'm gonna have extra quarter round from the doors, but I need more quarter round in the closets. And in my mind, I sort of trade the door quarter round for the closet quarter round. And it's generally close enough.
Are we
Okay.
supposed to be intentionally leaving space between these rooms, like even if they share a doorway?
Sorry, Drew, that you're breaking up on the audio. What was that?
Sorry, should we be, you have a little gap in between the hall and this bedroom and the other bedroom, right? Are we putting these lines as close together as we can? Or are we spreading out just a little bit?
Well, I like leaving a little gap so that I can actually read the dimensions. If I put this room on top of this other room, then now all of a sudden I can't read the numbers. So when that goes into Salesforce and I'm trying to read it later, I can't read it. So I personally like to leave a little gap. I like for the room to be, I mean, if you walk down this hallway, you could see that there's a bedroom on the right, a bedroom on the left, and you can kind of see how that goes, right? I don't have to get those lines on top of each other for you to see where they belong.
Okay,
Now,
I was just asking for the rooms that share a doorway.
Okay, but I'm not going to share the doors, so.
Okay, yeah, I'm just making sure.
Yep. Now,
So
I'm
Arlen-
also going to defer to your franchise owner. So if, you know, if Marty wants you to draw doors, if Randy wants you to draw duplicate doors and share walls and all that kind of stuff, then I mean, do what your franchise owner says. I'm telling you, for me, it's a waste of time. Yeah, Carrie.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I did like an entire house. I mean, it wasn't a big house, but you know, with all the different rooms, it got really crowded. How do you push the button? Like, how do you get it smaller so it's not so jammed? You know, with all the different rooms.
I'm zoom in and out, pinch it just like you do on your phone. So if I pinch it, it gets smaller. If I open it, it gets bigger. Okay.
Alrighty.
You can't do it on the room. If you're doing it on the room moves. So, but you just pick the white space around it and you can zoom in and out the same way you do on your phone.
Okay, all right.
Good. Anything else on this screen? All right, so how do we want to, we've got 3 rooms here. Let's do the space info. Well, I'm just going to take default space info. Removal of carpet.
Actually, yeah, Arlen, that's a little too late. Could you just do like a basic stair for us?
Oh, stairs. Perfect. Yeah.
Or like maybe one with like a return in it or something like that. Show us that really quickly.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna click the button that says stairs. And let's just envision for a moment, we'll do box stairs to start with. Let's say that I have a staircase. It goes up 7 stairs, there's a landing, and then it turns to the right and it goes up 7 stairs again. So I've got 14 stairs in total, 7 and a landing and another 7. Does that make sense? Okay, so watch. Staircase, stairs 1. How many stairs do I have?
14.
14.
14, and I'm going to put 15 because I'm going to use the stairs to capture the cost of the nose that goes into the hallway. So I'm going to count my stairs, I'm going to count my stair treads, and I'm going to add 1. I always add 1 because I need 1 extra riser, and I need a stair nose at the top of the stairs anyway. And all this is a way of me capturing some money into the proposal so that I have enough money to finish the stairs out at the top. Let's say that the stair width is 3 foot, I don't know, we'll call these 3 foot 10 inches wide. They're a normal riser, normal tread, and it's boxed straight. But didn't I say that I went up to a landing and I turned and went up again? So why am I calling it box straight?
Do you do the landings?
There's a
that-
wall on either side.
It is not a curve.
The stairs are straight. All 14 of these stairs are straight. There's a landing, but then I go right back to straight stairs again. When you see turn doesn't mean that there's a landing. Turn means that you have a pie-shaped stair, and it's curved. It's gone with the wind. All right, so these are box straight. Good. Well, we'll put that over here down by the end of the hallway. Well, what am I going to do with my landing? Well, that's simple enough. I'm going to make a square drawing.
Arlen, just so you know, I'm having problems with this tablet and actually being able to draw with it. It's not doing some of the dots and things, so I'm missing an entire room on this process that you're
Okay.
doing.
All right, well, I hate that you're having trouble with it.
Yeah, so I run into that problem as well. And I had a conversation and what I found out is I was doing a lot of the double lines. Because sometimes it doesn't react in real time and live, so you just kind of lag a little bit. You got to give it just a second, and if it doesn't pop up, then you got to try it again just to make sure you're not getting a double wall.
Good. So here's my stairs with a landing. I have 14 stairs. I added one. I'm calling that 15 stairs, and now I've got a landing. And yes, you could do 7 stairs and 7 stairs, but when we go to put product in the stairs, you have to do the stairs separate. You have to pick them separately. They can go on the same proposal, but you have to pick it separately, and that just takes extra time if I've got a bunch of extra stairs hanging around. So let's do our space info. Now I'm going to go ahead and select all. So over on the left-hand side, I can select all. You'll notice that stairs don't show up there. That's okay. What do I want to remove? So I've got removal of carpet and pad, removal of resilient. So that would essentially be like I've got a sheet vinyl that's glued down to concrete. Removal in hallway of resilient with the subfloor, that typically means that it's the sheet vinyl that's glued to a 1/4-inch plywood, and I'm pulling that plywood up, that 1/4-inch plywood too. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm pulling out the 3/4-inch subfloor. The wording's a little weird. Removal in hallway of a floating floor, removal in hallway of hardwood, nailed or glued, removal in hallway of tile over concrete, nothing, it's a bare floor. Removal in hallway of tile and backerboard, removal in hallway of carpet glued down. So each one of these is a different labor line in your price list. And depending on what you've got in your price list, what you put in there for your price list, or what the franchise owner has put in there for the price list, it's going to pull in a number. So let's just say that we're pulling out carpet. That's great. Standard furniture move, I'm happy to do that. Plywood, okay, no big deal. So now I can hit the little dollar sign at the bottom right, and we can go in and we can create a proposal here. So now let's think about where we are in the house. We had a great warm up with somebody, and then we walked the space with the customer. And when we walked the space, we found out what they were interested in. What do they want their new floor to look like and feel like, and how do they want it to last? We talked about the things that they don't like about their current floor, and we talked about the things that they do like, and then I gave them a reference list, and they're calling the reference list while I'm doing this drawing. I've done this drawing, I did my inspection video, and then I did my drawing. So now I have this drawing done. Now, this is where I'm going to encourage you, because you're right here at step 3. This is where you have to stop and think about, what is my strategy at the end? So how do I want to build 3 options for this customer? And of course, it depends on what the customer asks for. Am I doing a hardwood option, a laminate option, and a carpet option? That's a strategy. Am I doing everything in hardwood, which includes hardwood stairs, And then maybe the second option, I just take the stairs out, but I leave the hardwood upstairs. And the third option, I want all carpet. Am I doing some rooms but not other rooms? Am I having other services that are put in there? Am I putting in an area rug? Maybe in my option one, I've got a hardwood hallway, but I'm also adding in an area rug for the hallway so that there's a rug runner down the hallway. So this is where and we're going to get into step 2 more tomorrow. This is where in step 2, it's really important for us to understand what is it that the customer is looking for. And I'm already starting to think about how do I want to strategize this. So we haven't had the warm up. We haven't had the step. Well, you guys have had a warm up, but we haven't had a step 2 today. So let me just ask you guys, how do you want to build 3 options for this? There's not a right or wrong. I'm just looking for suggestions. How do you want to build 3 options for this today?
Good, better, best with carpet.
Okay. Other thoughts? Anybody want to see something else?
Yeah, I want to see like maybe like $2,000 price difference between the 3 options. So, 14 to 12 to 10.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do
and I'm
this.
making up those numbers.
Yep. Let's say that option 1, the customer wants hardwood, or they want it to at least look like hardwood. So the customer wants hardwood, and we're going to do hardwood everywhere, including the stairs. Okay, so we're going to say we're doing hardwood everywhere. Great. So in option 1, I'm going to go ahead and click all the spaces except the stairs, because I can't. The tablet has it's a really, really good feature, but you have to understand it. The tablet will not let you pick 2 rooms with different subfloors, which makes sense because there may be different installation methods. And so the stairs are considered a different subfloor. All right, so I'm picking those 4, and I'm going to set my install info. And I'm going to pick hardwood. And this is going to be, because this is on a plywood subfloor, I'm doing a straight, I'm not doing any sort of pattern. This is a standard hardwood underlayment. I'm just using roofing felt. And I'm going to install quarter round to existing base. We're not ripping the baseboards off. We're just going to put some quarter round in. Now, at this moment, remember yesterday I talked about doing a rough draft, right? So here's my rough draft. So for right now, I'm going to select, this is going to be a PG3 hardwood. I don't know what color this customer is going to pick, have no idea, but I look at the boards that I've got in my van that fit what the customer is looking for, and it looks like this is probably going to be a PG3 hardwood. So I'm going to pick that, select it, and hit my check mark. Yep, I've got all that. That's good. I can hit my check mark again. And now I'm going to add the stairs to it. So let's click on the stairs. And I set my install info for stairs. Now, when I pick on stairs, you'll notice I only get 3 options here. Carpet, sand it and finish it, or put in hardwood. So I'm going to put in hardwood. I don't have to pick anything else. When I do stairs, it only gives me 3 lines anyway. Hard surface grate, boxed wood stair install, and oak stair treads. So that's good. Here's my stairs. And now I have an option 1. You're not done yet. I'm going to hit complete option so I can see the detail screen. Everything's here. Today, I'm not going to monkey with this at all yet. I'm just going to go back. And I now have option 1, which I'm going to rename to be my hardwood option, for $12,930. We're good so far? Okay. So now let's create another option. Well, my second option, the only thing I want to do is I want to take out the stairs. That's it. So the customer was kind of on the fence about doing the stairs anyway, and stairs are expensive. So what if we said that we'll do the hardwood job, we just won't do the stairs? So this is easy. Underneath that hardwood option, there's a little duplicate button, and I'm going to click that little duplicate button. And now I have exactly the same option, but I'm going to click on the stairs. Now watch what happens when I click on the stairs. Now down at the bottom of the screen, there's a new button that says, there's an X, and it says remove from option. And so I can click on the remove from option, and it doesn't delete the stairs, it just takes them out of this option. And if I take the stairs out, I'm going to take the landing out as well. And now I can hit complete option again, so I know I've got a completed option. And now option 2 is going to be hardwood, no stairs. All right, we happy so far? And look, John, that's about $2,300 difference. All right, so what do we want to do for our third option? Well, let's say our third option, we're gonna put the stairs back in, but this time we're gonna put carpet everywhere. Okay, so let's just do a carpet option. And I'm gonna click on the plus button up here at the top, and I'm just gonna create a new option from scratch. Same as before, I'm gonna click all the rooms, set install info. This is gonna be carpet. I'm gonna leave the Courage carpet pad in here for right now. And I'm gonna pick a carpet, and let's say I have no idea what carpet they like, so I'm gonna put PG3 for fun. Hit enter. Same as before, I need to add the stairs to it, so let's set this, let's set install info. This time I'm putting carpet on the stairs, and I'm going to use the same PG3. Happy, happy, and happy. And here I can complete option. And I've got my third option. Good stuff. Up here at the top, now I'm going to rename this option to carpet. Okay, I have 3 options pre-built. How long should that take?
Five minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. Okay. Now, the customer is not interested in buying a PG3 carpet. They're not interested in buying a PG3 hardwood. They're interested in buying a light brown hardwood that's got some character and blah, 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 right? Okay. So when I'm talking to the customer, I'm not talking about PG3s. I'm talking about, you know, colors and designs and that sort of thing. But I ran out to the van and I put together these 3 options. And now I've got in my mind, I've got a clear strategy. Option 1, I'm going to pitch hardwood, including the stairs. Option 2, we just dropped the stairs out. Think about how easy that is. If the customer tells me there is no way I'm ever spending $12,900 on this floor, great, well, I've got another option. Remember, you were sort of on the fence about the stairs anyway? Let's see what it would look like without the stairs. And that fast, I'm now dropping to option 2. Simple, right? And then if it's, well, $9,600 is still way too much, okay. I know we were sort of waffling on the on the hardwood. Let's take a look at what carpet would look like. So I'm already building in my mind, what is my strategy going to be way before I get to the close. Okay, I come back in the house. What boards am I carrying into the house?
Hardwood.
Yeah, hardwood. All right, so let me get it. Come over here and get my hardwood board. All right, good. I hope y'all like this one. It's the only one I got. All right, so I've got my hardwood. I'm ready to go. I come back in the house. I ask the customer, were you able to get in touch with anybody on the reference list? By the way, now the tablet is, it's back in my bag. I mean, they don't see the tablet. I can hit the little button that says continue to presentation, but now I'm just waiting. Okay, so I go to the customer. Were you able to get in touch with anybody on the reference list? Oh yeah, I talked to 4 people. Great, 4 people, that's wonderful. And Miss Ernestine said she wants you to come back. Good, I love it. And I jump right into the company story. Now, let me slow down here for just a second. I know this is hard by Zoom. Where do I want to position this hardwood board? Do I want to have it sitting on my lap? Do I want to have it in front of me? Where do I want to position this board?
Out of view so they
Off
don't
to the
see
side
it.
somewhere.
Yeah, I want it off to the side. Why do I want it off to the side? Because I want the customer paying attention to me. Right? The minute I bring product into the house, the customer's eyes are going to want to go to the product, and I need them to pay attention to a company story. So I have to be careful where I'm positioning product. I have to be careful how my body language, I have to be careful with all this stuff. Okay, good. I go through my company story. Another place that I'm going to slow down. I am never going to ask the customer permission to do a company story. And I know you guys think, well, I would never ask permission either, but we do with our language. So I sit down and I say, here, I'd like to take a minute and tell you a little bit about my company. Well, now you're opening the door for the customer to say, no, I don't want to hear that. I don't ask, right? This is just, I'm going to roll right into this. Were you able to get in touch with anybody on the reference list? Oh, that's fantastic. Let me show you what I found. And when I don't have an inspection video. When I click the button, it's going to play the inspection video first. And I go from the inspection video straight into the company story. You know, the thing that I love most about my job, and I'm into it, right? You should be able to get 2 or 3 slides into the company story before the customer realizes, oh, wait a minute, I'm in the middle of a presentation. And by then, I would highly encourage you to figure out in one of these first couple of slides, how am I going to personalize this, right? Because if I'm counting on the big bang that's going to come on slide number 28, that's where I'm going to personalize it. It's too late. You've already lost them. So let's come back to slide 2 or 3 and figure out how am I going to use this slide to really personalize it. So I've got Jason that loves to travel, and I'm sitting here thinking, how in the world am I going to personalize one of these first 3 slides for somebody that wants to be outside in Utah traveling and camping? What do y'all think? Pick one of these first 3 slides and tell me how we can do this.
Our promise. I would say our promise.
Yeah. So when I was actually talking with Christine, I chose the our promise going into the next slide about being locally owned, and our business comes from people just like you, and we know it's important to do our part in the community. And I know that your daughter is in the Army, and I do a lot of volunteer work in the community. One of the charities that's closest to my heart is Wounded Warriors Foundation.
Okay, all right. So would you pull that out on this slide? Where would you pull that out?
The next one, this one.
This one, okay. So you're talking about service? Good, I love it. Courtney, you were going to jump in here.
Sorry, yeah, I was going to do our promise is what I would thought, especially it'd be our promise to you is to provide the best flooring experience in North America. And that, you know, to me is time, and your time is valuable. So you can go out and go do some traveling and whatnot, and without the worry of what is, you know, that the time it's going to take to get, you know, yada, yada.
Good, all right. So again, if you wait until, you know, I've got, oh my gosh, I've got the perfect way that I'm going to personalize this, and it's on slide 15. By the time you get to slide 15, their eyes are glassed over. So don't wait that long, right? You really, I would encourage you, one of these first 2 or 3 slides, figure out how you want to hit them hard with a good personalization story early so that you've got their attention. All right, so I do a masterful job with our new company story. Everything's wonderful. I go through the whole inspection video, everything. I get all the way to the end of the company story, and then I finally hit the blue X. By the way, at any point in here, if you hit the blue X, you're going to jump out of the company story, and then you're like, oh crap, what just happened? And you're in the embarrassing moment of trying to figure out where you were again. So don't hit the blue X until you actually get all the way to the end of the company story, and then you can hit it. Good. All right, now I just move on to the next screen. So I've done the company story for the customer. Everything was wonderful. We picked out product. So I set the tablet aside. We pick out a product. I show them. How do I want to start my product presentation?
I chose this for you because.
That's it. I chose this product for you because you said. All right, well, you said you wanted a board that looked like this, that did this, that did this, that did this. That board's going to take care of all those things and more. Okay, wonderful. Is this the board you love? I absolutely love it. Okay, so now let's slow down again. I'm going to throw in an extra question. Use it, don't use it, it's up to you. I like this question because it's sort of, to me, it kind of helps transition, but you know, it's another tactic, use it or don't. I like to ask customers at this point, so we've decided on a color, we've decided on a texture, we've decided on this is the board, they love it, they absolutely love it. And so I'll typically look at them and say, all right, so this is the board you love? Yes, I love it. Do you have any other questions? Do you have any questions about how this project would go, how it would be installed, what the process would look like, or whatever? I just like to ask that question because I want to make sure that I've got my bases covered. You don't, I mean, use it or don't, it's up to you. Then they typically, maybe they'll ask, well, how long do you think it'll take? Or what are you going to do with the grandfather clock? Or do I need to do something with the dogs? Okay, so that's good. We have that conversation and that's all done. So now I have another question for you. Other than price or payment, would there be any reason we couldn't get your job started today? And now I'm going right into the pre-close. But asking that first question, do you have any other questions for me, gives them the opportunity to slow down and think about, well, what about the timing and how long is it going to be and yada, 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 right? You know what I'm doing while I'm answering that question for them? I'm going back into my rough draft in the tablet and I'm putting the actual product in. So I'm going to play with, I'll play with John here. So John's my customer. John, this is I chose this board for you because blah, blah, blah. I even got out my black L's and he picked out a beautiful color. And I say, so John, this is the one you love?
I hope you're talking about me as John, but yes.
Oh, it could be the John and John show. That's okay. So John, this is the color you love?
Yes.
Fantastic. So John, do you have any other questions about how the process would work or what we would do on your job?
Yeah, I guess timeline as far as how long it's going to take, and are folks going to be in my house till 8, 9 p.m.?
Perfect. No, these are
like
great
that.
questions. Great questions. So our installers are going to show up on time. All right, so now I'm answering his question. Okay, you have to stop, you got to walk with me here, use your imagination. I'm answering John's question. I'm telling him the installers normally show up, it typically takes this long, we normally work this late, whatever, right? I'm answering his question. At the same time that I'm answering his question, I'm going to click back over to this page. I'm going to make sure I'm on my option 1. I'm going to click into the little complete option button. I'm going to come down in the proposal, that 4th button over. Y'all know about the little switcheroo button, right? The 2 little arrows that crisscross each other. I'm going to click that little switcheroo button. And now I'm going to type in the name of the board. The name of this board is Lakeway. And I picked Lakeway, and I picked the exact color. So he picked, what color did he pick? Y'all know how John is. He picked Twilight. Okay, so here we go. Pick Twilight. And now, instead of having PG3 sitting there, I have the exact product sitting there. I go back from there, and I tee myself up to right where I want to be. Now, you have to practice that. Otherwise, you'll sit there and you'll be changing all kinds of stuff and messing up, and it's hard to do that and talk at the same time if you don't practice it. But that is the quick, easy way of you feeling very confident that the number I'm showing the customer is the exact number. I'm not worried about it. It's the exact product. I'm not worried about that. I had a PG3 in there as a placeholder, and now I'm taking the placeholder out and I'm putting the exact product in.
Does that put in the exact product's pricing, or does it just keep it in a product group?
Nope, it puts the exact product price.
Perfect.
It is now the exact, because you'll notice what was the price before, Wendy? It was
12,900.
12,900 before. It was 12,900 before, and now it's showing 11,800 or 11,900, right? So when I put in Lakeway is probably not a PG3, it's probably a PG2. When I put in Lakeway, all of a sudden it dropped the price to exactly what it should be. Okay, I don't care. I mean, I'm good with that. I'm happy. Up until now, that number hasn't mattered. But look, it only took me 20 seconds to make that quick change. So the customer's not waiting on me to do a bunch of stuff. Now, John might have said, no, I don't have any questions. Okay, great. Give me 15 seconds here. Boom, boom, boom. I changed the product and everybody's happy. Does that make sense?
Hey, Arlen.
Okay. So people get, I'll come to you in just a second, Owen. People get hung up around the fact that, oh my gosh, all the way back in step 3, I don't know what they're going to pick. So how do I know this is the right price? You don't. It's okay. It's a rough draft. Think of it as a rough draft. But I want all that detail done. I want to spend, if it takes me 20 minutes to put a proposal together, I want to spend that time in the van by myself. Now that the customer says, yes, I love it, they're at an emotional high, this is the best point in time for me to show them a price, I don't want to have to wait 20 minutes to put a proposal together. Waiting 10 seconds for me to just change the product, that's simple. Waiting 10 minutes for me to do a proposal is not. Oh, and you had a question.
Yeah, I was tracking with you until you said switcheroo button, and then boom, I lost it. What is it? What is the switcheroo button? Is it the product selector?
I'll go back. Nope, I'll go back. So when I'm on this page, right?
Yep.
Not the drawing page. You'll notice I don't have the drawing stuff on the left-hand side. This is this page. If I hit the button that says complete option, I hit complete option, and it brings up this detail screen.
Yep.
I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the section that has all these lines in it, all these lines. Now, right now it says Lakeway Twilight at the bottom. Okay, a minute ago it had PG3.
Okay.
Right below that, there's 5 icons. There's a plus, a folder, a pencil, and there's 2 arrows that crisscross each other.
I see it.
All right, that's what I'm calling this. I don't know what the technical name is. I call it the switcheroo button.
I was looking way downstairs. Okay, I got you. I'm tracking. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Good. Now, I come back to where I was. The customer does not see this screen. Okay, the customer doesn't see this. I have the tablet turned towards me. So now I answered John's question about how long it was going to take and how long the installers were going to be in the house and whether or not they were going to steal his guns and whatever else. I've answered all those questions, okay? And now I'm simply going to ask him, so other than price or payment, would there be any reason we couldn't get your job started today? I'll give you a little preface, okay? Again, this is another little tactic. Use it, don't use it, whatever. But I personally love it. I didn't come up with this. This was a DA that I was riding with. They asked the question, do you have any questions about the install or the process? And the customer had some questions. And then he answered all those questions and says, okay, we're about to have an adult conversation about money. So other than price or payment, would there be any reason we couldn't get your job started today? And I actually really like that. I mean, use it, don't use it is up to you. I kind of like that. We're about to have an adult conversation about money. And it just sort of sets it up. Okay, we're about to talk price now. Let's go.
You want me to answer that, Arlen?
Sure.
Okay. I just, I'm not sure. You're the first person out. I've contacted 2 other companies I've got scheduled over the next week or 2 to come out, and I want to make sure I get at least 2 to 3 quotes before making a final decision.
Good. All right. So you guys tell me, is that a positive pre-close or a negative pre-close?
Negative.
Negative.
Right? It's negative. So what does that tell me?
You missed
I'm the design associate on this job. What does that tell me?
Missed something?
You
Something
didn't
in the
do
sales
a good job.
process.
I missed something. Right now I can't. So what can I do? I can tell John at this point, I can't go back and have a warm up with him again. That ship has sailed. I can't go back and do the company story again. That ship has sailed. The only thing that I can really talk about is product, right? So I might ask John, well, John, is there another, you know, if this sample board's not exactly what you're looking for, is there something else that you'd like to see? Right? So I could maybe go back and revisit product. But so for this appointment, it might be that I can sort of revisit product and get him there. But this tells me that something in my process wasn't strong enough that now he doesn't think that he needs to, that he doesn't believe that he can make a decision with me based on my price alone. All right, maybe John says yes, maybe he says no. I'm still going to give him a commitment statement. Well, look, John, I'm going to make sure that I don't let price or payment stand in the way of you getting the floors that you love and deserve. And now I'm going to open up my price and payment sheet, and I'm going to walk through the price and payment sheet with him. Total retail price for your project. It's $11,890. You said you got in touch with 4 of the people on my reference list. That gives you a $200 discount, and that brings your total down to just $11,690. Now, I never know how people might want to invest in their home, so I took the liberty of putting together some payment options for you. 24 months would be $555 a month. 36 months is just $393, and 48 months would be $313 a month. So when we're finished and you're 100% satisfied, would you be in a position to pay with a personal check, or would you want to take advantage of one of the payment options? All right. So yesterday we went through all the different scenarios, right? I just want to show you on the tablet some things that you can do here. If you put in a down payment, notice what my payments are. $555, $393, $313. If I put in a $2,000 down payment and he's going to finance the rest, now I'm down to $460, $326, and $259, right? So as I put numbers down here, it does change the payments. I can come up here and change the terms. So that 48 months, I could make it 84 months. I can make it 72 months. I can make it 144 months, depending on what your companies do, right? Whatever your finance company does. If I have somebody that's looking for a, I'm going to give them an additional discount for whatever reason, call it a cash discount. I can write over here that we're doing a cash discount, and I can put in a $100 cash discount or whatever it is that I need to do. And of course that changes the numbers. Okay. So any of these cells that's sort of a darker cell, if you will, any of those cells you can make changes to, and it affects those changes. If it's one of the white cells, you can't do anything with it. It's only the darker cells that you can change.
Hey, Arlen.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. Of course, my tablet just went. But I was on. I'm on the page right before you go to put the pricing tab, and it was where it had the 2 option box. I had 2 options. You have 3 there, okay. And on option 1, it wasn't showing the 11,590. It was like I could kind of see the top of the numbers, but it wasn't actually there. But then when I click on it and hit open price and payment sheet, the full price is there. Have you ever run into that?
So I'm guessing that your font is set really, really big on your tablet.
Okay.
So if you'll swipe down from the top and you go to settings, and then we come over here to display, and come down to where it says font, size, and style. And I'm guessing that your font size is bigger. You really want to be either the very smallest or the next to the smallest.
You said here we have font sizes. I'm set to the smallest.
Okay, so let's take a look at one other thing. Let's go back to our display again.
Okay.
And back. And this time I want to look at the screen zoom, and
Okay.
you should be zoomed all the way down to the smallest on the left-hand side there.
Yep, I am. Okay, I remember
Alright.
doing that. Yep.
All right, so if that's the case, then this should look right for you. If it doesn't, we'll look at it next week.
Okay, yeah, it's still not looking right. Okay,
Okay.
sorry, that's cool. All right, thanks.
All right, so I'm going back into my price and payment sheet. So this customer decided that they were gonna do payments, so I'm not gonna do a cash discount for them. They're gonna do payments here, so I'm gonna take that out. And they decided that they were gonna go with a 36-month payment plan. They're gonna do $3,000 down and a 36-month payment plan. Okay? Now, I'm gonna click the button on the far right-hand side that says continue to proposal. And here, there's two sheets here. This is, you'll notice at the top left, this says worksheet. So the worksheet, there's a couple of things that you can touch on the tablet. There's a couple of things that you can change on the tablet when you're on the worksheet. When you get to the proposal, the only thing you can do is capture a signature. Here you've got the ability to do some changes. So I don't know why my location shows Monterey, California, but apparently that's where I'm at. Who is Floor Coverings International? There we go. Now I've got two boxes here that can be typed in. One is called the project information and the other is called the proposal information. Project information, whatever I type there, is going to automatically copy to all of the options on this project. So, project information. This is project information. Information copies to all options. All right. Good. The second box is proposal information. If I click the little plus, proposal information is specific to this option. Enter. Okay.
Harlan, I don't
watch.
have the
I'm
little
gonna-
boxes to edit.
Are you on the proposal or are you on the worksheet?
I think I'm on the proposal.
All right, so go back one screen so that at the top of it, it should say worksheet.
Okay, I'm missing something. Sorry. You can keep going. I'll find it.
All right, so are you, when you're looking at this, if you scroll all the way down, does it say, or when you go all the way to the top of the page, does it say worksheet at the top like mine does?
No.
Okay, so are you on, if I go to proposal, then are you on one that looks like this?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're on the proposal instead of, so just hit the back button one time on your tablet, and it should take you back
Okay.
towards one screen to the worksheet.
Okay, got it. I was using the navigation at the top instead of the back button, and I think I was skipping over it.
Yep, all right,
Thank
so
you.
now you should have a proposal information and a project information. Interestingly enough, might be a little bug that I just found. Nope, it's there. All right, so project information, proposal information is there. So this is option one. I'm going to go look at option two for a second. And I'm going to go to the worksheet for option two. And you'll notice that the worksheet for option two already has that project information because it copied to all of the options. It has no proposal information because I haven't put it on there yet. So let's go back to option one again. What would be something that you might have as project information that regardless of what product they pick, regardless of what option they pick, the project information is the same? What could that be?
Customer to move on furniture.
It might be that for everything that, it doesn't matter what option they go with, that the customer is gonna move their furniture, right? Typically, that might be option specific, but it could be. What else might be, regardless of which option they pick?
An issue with subfloor?
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if they pick hardwood or carpet, either way, we've gotta fix the subfloor. So there might be a note that I need to put in that has to do with the subfloor. There might be a gate code.
Pet
There might be, yeah, there might be pet information, right? So it doesn't matter if they do hardwood or carpet, it doesn't make any difference. The dog is gonna be in the backyard, don't go in the backyard, right? So this is, the project information is not dependent on this particular option. It's project information. The proposal information is very specific to this option. So for this option, the customer has picked to do something. Maybe they are going to move their own furniture. Maybe I want to document the color of the floor or something. Maybe I want to document the color of the quarter round, right? And I've got all the details of the project here. So here's my bedroom, the stairs, this is what we're going to do, all that wonderful stuff. You'll notice down here at the bottom, it shows me that the customer is going to do a $3,000 down payment. And it says over here on the right, we've got 36 payments at 12.99%, which calculates to a $292 monthly payment. And in the fine print, it says payment terms are pending credit approval through a third-party lender. So that's fine. I do have the ability, because this is the worksheet, I actually can change this down payment. So if the customer says, you know what, why don't we go ahead, I think I could do 4,000 down. Okay, well, let's do 4,000 down. Good. And of course, it changes everything else too. Then I go to the proposal, and now I have the actual proposal. And the only thing that happens on the proposal, the only thing you can change is to sign it. And to sign it, I simply tap the signature box and it opens up, or I tap the customer signature box and get them to sign it. All right, so I wanted to make sure that we covered the ability to put the actual product in. And so now you'll see that instead of saying PG3, this says Lakeway Twilight, and then of course that pulls in the exact product numbers. Any other questions, or any questions about how to manipulate the tablet, especially here at the back end?
Hey, Arlen, I got a question, not regarding tablet, but I know you said you only had one hardwood board with you today, but how many boards would you typically bring in with you?
I'm gonna bring in for option one, I want 3 or 4 boards.
Okay.
For option two, now in this case, option two, I don't need any extra boards, because in option two, we're just taking the stairs out, right? So I don't need additional boards for that. But if I get to option 3 and we're looking at carpet, I might only have 2 boards of carpet to look at. So I want to narrow the choice down some as we get further and further down the line. But for option one, I'm bringing in maybe 3 or 4 boards.
And you don't bring in anything for option 3 at the same time? You just bring in the hardwood and you focus on that?
That's it. Option 3 is probably sitting on the front porch. If it's raining outside, I might have brought it in and set it in the foyer, but I'm not bringing it into the living room with me. I mean, it could even be sitting on the front seat of the van. I don't want to, I want to have it pulled so that I have it really quick, but I don't want it as part of the discussion yet.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Arlen, if right now I've got my 2 options, there's option 1 and option 2, and I'm at the end of the, I'm on the worksheet. Is there any way to quickly rename it like hardwood carpet without having to go all the way back?
No, I mean, the only place that you can rename it is here.
Okay, so good. That's just, so you can rename it on that screen.
Right. I can come here and rename it. I can't rename it on the other screens, but I can rename it here.
Gotcha. Okay. How do you rename it there? How do you, just so I know? What
So
would,
let's say the one that says carpet, I'm just gonna click on that, and now
Yeah.
you'll see that there's a little pencil next to the word carpet.
yeah, okay,
And I click this little tiny pencil, but if I click that little tiny pencil, then it brings up this box,
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
okay? All right, so while we're here, I've got all this space. And this third option was a carpet option. Let's just take a minute and refresh our memories on the seaming tool. So I'm gonna click on my complete option here, and you'll notice that because this is carpet, you know, the hardwood option that we looked at didn't have this little calculator button. There was 5 buttons, and the fourth one was the switcheroo button. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 icons at the bottom. And one of those icons looks like a calculator. That icon is only going to show up for rolled goods. It'll show up for carpet and for sheet vinyl. It doesn't show up on the hardwood or laminate because there's no such thing as a seaming tool for those products. So on your carpet product, I get that little calculator. I'm going to click on the little calculator. Now, the first thing that I can decide is the direction of travel. So do I want the direction of travel to be horizontal, vertical, or let the system pick? All right, so one word about this. This is why it is super important that when I draw these rooms, that these rooms are actually facing the right direction. Because when I get to the seaming tool, if the rooms are turned different directions from what they actually are, then I run the risk of the tablet calculating the amount of carpet that's needed based on the wrong geometry. What do I mean by that? Well, if I go back here, yes. If I go back here and I take this weird diagonal room and I turn it this way, well, the carpet seaming might be very, very different for that. So I'm just going to keep turning it. I'm going to turn it back around the way I had it. Good. Because that's the way that I want it. And that's the way that I want to seam it. If you have 2 rooms where the carpet is not touching, so let's say, for example, that one of my options was I was going to do carpet in the 2 bedrooms, but I was going to do hardwood in the hallway. It wouldn't matter so much. In that case, the carpet can be turned in different directions. But if the carpet is touching, so it's in the hallway, it's in the bedroom, that carpet's touching, it has to be run in the same direction in both of those spaces. Why? You have to have the rooms turned in the right direction. So let's go back in here. Let's go back down to our seaming diagram. So I'm just going to let the tablet decide. Stairs, I'm not a big fan of the waterfall. I like a full wrap, so I'm going to do that as a full wrap. If this were a pattern, I'd be putting in the horizontal repeat, vertical repeat. This is not a pattern. But one thing that I will warn you about, the tablet assumes that a 12-foot wide carpet really is 12 feet, and it's not. I want you to put in 11'9" as a way of making sure you've got 3 inches, because a typical carpet, you lose 3 inches on the end. 1.5 inches on each side. So I hit the enter button, and now it has changed my waist factor. That's fantastic. And I have yet another icon. I have an icon that looks like a little L, and when I click that little L, now I have, this is my seaming diagram for this project. And just like before, I can zoom in, zoom out, whatever. I might look at this and say, you know what? I don't like running 2 seams in the hallway like that. So let's force the tablet to turn the carpet the other direction. All right, so right now I have a waist factor of 14.82. Y'all see that? I've got a waist factor, or excuse me, yep, I've got a waist factor of 14.82. I'm going to change this now, and I'm going to force it to run it horizontal. And my waist went to 16.49. Who cares? It's 2 extra points of waist. But look at how much cleaner that is. I don't have a bunch of seams in the hallway. That looks a lot better in terms of seaming. All right, so let me stop here. That's a lot quickly, but by now this should be more review than anything. So let's see what questions there are. Where did I lose people? Where are we at?
I didn't know for carpet, you had to have the rooms facing the right way for the seams.
Yep.
That was a good little nugget.
Absolutely. All right, what else?
Is there a way to do that in when you're doing the set install info rather than wait till the end?
Oh, so normally, yeah, I wouldn't normally wait until the end. Normally, when I'm on this screen and I'm putting in my stuff, this is when I'm going to go ahead and do my carpet seaming. I'm not going to wait till the end.
Okay,
Now, what I will wait to do is, again, I've got my little switcheroo button here. Look at that. And I can now put in, because the customer picked winner's choice. Winner's choice has a bunch of them out there. Probably has a apostrophe. Yep. All right. It has just a space. Winner space S choice. And we're going to use a 12-foot and I don't know what color. Doesn't matter. Oh, we'll pick cashew. Good. Good. All right. And I can do that little switcheroo and just like before. Now the switcheroo doesn't work for the carpet pad. You'll notice I've got Courage carpet pad. There's not a way to do a switcheroo. I can change it, but it means adding a line and deleting that line. That's easy enough to do. But I can absolutely change it from a PG3 to the actual carpet name. No problem with that. Okay. So I oops, wrong button. Make it all the way back to the end again, and I've got my 3 options. All right. So one other little trick I'll show you. I'm here. I've gone through, I've exhausted every option. I've looked at this and I've exhausted everything. And at the end, John looked at me and said, look, you're a nice guy and everything, but the bottom line is I'm not spending more than 10 grand to do this. Okay. So here's a little nugget for you. If I want to move from the hardwood to the one without the stairs really quick, all I've got to do is swipe the screen and it's right there. That's kind of neat. And I can swipe the screen again and I can get to my carpet option. So all 3 options are right there within swiping distance. One other thing, I mentioned this yesterday, if for some reason now you're negotiating interest rate, that IR box at the bottom, I can change that. Let's put a 9.99 there. And just like that, I have now changed the interest rate on this. Now, I'm not guaranteeing the customer is going to get that. They might, depends on their credit and everything. But this is no different than, if I could take Venmo, could we get your job started? This is essentially saying, well, if I could get you a 36-month payment plan at 9.99% interest, could we get your job started? And now we have the ability to go take a look at it. All right, let me stop again. Questions?
Harlan, I noticed that when you switch from one project to or option to the next, your down payment doesn't carry over with you. Would the interest rate at all?
Sorry, say that again, Courtney.
So I noticed when you switched options, your down payment number didn't carry over to the other option. Would your interest rate?
No, because it's a different offer.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just want to clarify.
Yep, it's a different offer, so that now I can play with this offer and see what we need to do here. Other thoughts around this? And one thing for sure, let's say that John says, yep, I'll do this, 4,000 down, 36 months, 248, 9.99, great. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click this continue to proposal button, and I'm going to walk through this with him line by line. So this is who we are. This is the project and proposal information that we talked about. And I'm gonna walk through this with him. Now, you'll notice that, this is not in the order that I would really like for it to be in. Because I'd really like for the very first thing to be furniture move, and the second thing to be removal and haul away a carpet. And the third thing might be, maybe the hard surface freight, then the hardwood, and, you know, I would reorder this if I could. And I know that there's some effort, IT is going through some effort to try to do that, but honestly, I'm gonna use this as my benefit, and I'm gonna tell the customer, hey, look, this prints out in a weird order, so I wanna read through this with you and make sure that you see all the lines that are here. And so then I'd go through it with them. This is the removal and haul away that we talked about. There's this furniture move that we talked about. Here's the underlayment for the hardwood and the hardwood itself, and I'm just gonna walk through it line by line with them. Make sure that they understand this, make sure that we're in agreement down here, and then when I go to continue the proposal, everybody's happy, happy, happy. And it makes a lot of sense. All right.
Hey, Arlen, sorry,
Yes.
one more quick question. So let's say we're trying to work the interest rate and it's lowering while we're waiting for approval. Do we just still go to this, act like, just carry on like he's going to get approved for that rate? Or what,
Yep.
what do we do in those couple of minutes?
100%.
Okay.
No, well, okay, so I may or may not choose to run the credit while the guy's sitting there. I might not. I might purposely wait until I get back to the office to do that. And we can talk about strategies around that. But the reality is, I haven't earned the right to go to the finance company until we have an agreement. So it might be that I go ahead and get the signature, and then I call the finance company. But we don't have a deal. I haven't earned the right to go to the finance company until the customer says yes. And we can frame it this way. We can say, if I can get a 9.99% for you with $4,000 down, could we get your job started? And the customer says yes. Now I have the ability to actually go to the finance company. Before that, it's theoretical. What am I going to do? Call the finance company and say, ooh, I have a rumor of a job. Here's somebody that I think might one day eventually may decide they want to do flooring. And if they do, they may end up coming with me. The finance company is going to tell you to go pound salt. No, I have a deal, and now let's talk about the financing for this deal. Good question. Okay, so we're going to transfer out because I can look around the room and see that that the eyes are glazing over. So we are going to transfer out at this point.
Hey, Arlen, just real quickly, Denise just put something in the chat that I've heard wrong earlier. Denise, you're saying that you want the front of the house behind you, and I thought we always wanted.
Let's see. Okay.
Just so you're doing the same thing every time.
As long as you're doing the same thing. I tend to coach people.
Yeah.
I tend to coach people to put the front door in front of them because it's very easy to figure out where the front of the house is and then just stand facing the front of the house. It doesn't change anything. You could always stand facing west. I don't care.
Okay.
Facing west,
okay.
right? Be very, very consistent and do it the same way all the time. I imagine that when Denise learned how to measure, somebody told her measure with the front of the house and back, and that's okay too. That doesn't change anything as long as you're doing it the same way in every room.
Got it.
Arlen, question for you. When you're completing the appointment, you've got the reset demo, no see. I mean, clearly I know what demo and no demo is, but when are you using reset and no see if you're that far along? In the appointment?
Good question. Good question. Thank you for that. Let's see. Let's do this way. This will be quick, but this will be my way of doing a quick whiteboard for you. All right, we've got demo. We've got no demo. We've got reset. And we've got no C, right? Demo. I showed the customer a price. That's essentially what that means. That doesn't mean I did a product demo. It doesn't mean any of that. It basically means I showed the customer a price. Whether I did all the elements, did I do a company story? Did I not? Did I stick to the process? Did I not? Whatever. But somehow or another, I showed the customer a price. That means you did a demo. Okay. No demo. I did something, but did not get to the price. So maybe I came in and I drew everything and whatever else, but for whatever reason, we didn't get to a price. Now, maybe we didn't get to a price because the customer had to run and get the kids from soccer. Maybe we didn't get to a price because there was something really, really complicated and we didn't get to that point. But I came into the house and I did something, but I did not get a chance to to get to price. Okay, so that's no demo. All right, reset. Reset means I got to the house, went to the house, no one home, need to reset. So basically, I didn't do anything. I went to the house. Now, a lot of people won't even bother opening up the tablet until they've been in the house and they've done their warm-up. But like if you pull up in the van and you open the appointment, you're going to have to close the appointment and you're going to have to use a code to close it. Now, personally, I don't even open the tablet until I've already been and touched the, shake hands with the customer or whatever else. But reset, I went to the house, nobody was home, and we need to reset the appointment. Okay? No C. I did not see the customer. All right, so that sounds a lot like a reset, right? I did not see the customer. Here's the difference. I never want to go back again. Okay, whatever that means. Okay, maybe that means that it's in, this is a house that there's absolutely no way. Look, I got tricked into going into that neighborhood once, but I'm not getting tricked to go there again. Or it might be that I did go to the customer's house and I did actually talk to the customer, and they were really confused because they said they wanted tile, but what they really want is Spanish roof tile, and we don't do roofs, right? So this is completely outside of our scope. Okay, yeah, they said they wanted a floor, but what they're looking for is something that we just don't do it. So this isn't a customer for us. I never want to go back there again, and that's what no C means.
Gotcha.
That's simple enough.
Yep, that's awesome. Great clarification.
So
Good,
no
thank you.
C
Thanks
means
for the
I don't want to go back to the customer and see them for this specific job. But in the case of like the roof or whatever, like if they call back and make another appointment, it's not that like I felt unsafe. I'm not going back to that address ever again.
100%. 100%. I don't want to see them again for this project.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good. So let's do this. Your top takeaway from today. We'll walk down through the list real quick and really, really fast. What was your top takeaway from the day today? So we started with a warm up. We talked about personalizing the company story. We dove into the tablet and did some tablet stuff. If you could remember one thing out of today, what's your one big thing? And Jason, I'll start with you.
Go deeper. I mean that in like the warm up, and still something that I'm probably going to be working on for the next few months, but go deeper, learn more about the customer and really focus on the customer.
Nice. Denise, since you had the cat, I'm coming to you next.
Sorry. I think what really stuck out to me the most, I mentioned earlier trying to put all these pieces together and starting to feel like stuff's clicking. So the thing that clicked today was when you added those two little caveats between 6 and 7. So we've got the product we love. You really love this one. So what questions do you have for me at this point, where you really start pulling all those other objections that might come up or things that may get you away from closing the deal at the end, getting those out of the way? And then I've heard that used before. Okay, we're about to have an adult conversation about money. You ready? All right, we can do this. We can do this together. I think that's another good way to kind of break that ice and like, okay, it's all right. I'm here with you. But I really like adding that in before other than price or payment. Is there anything? I love that.
Good. Antonio. I can't hear you. He's got the double mute happening again. All right, I'll let Antonio work that. I'm going to Jonathan Hernandez.
I liked utilizing the worksheet to kind of recap, and even though you've probably already said those things when you're showing the value before the price or while you're giving the price of what we're doing, everything that's included, you're going over it again to make sure you're both clear on their responsibilities, yours, before you get that, commitment.
Good. Owen.
Yeah, I have two. One would be one would be to have transition statements between each slide, or like at least have like a go-to transition sentence or phrase between each of the slides in the company's story. And the second would be, and I'm feeling more comfortable with the tablet, but I still feel like I've got some detailed questions that I don't want to take up the whole class's time with. So hopefully we have some time for that in Atlanta.
Okay. Yep. Good. All right, Antonio. Let's see where we're at.
Yeah.
Yep,
Build out the report. Listen carefully and build out that report at the beginning, so you have a lot of tools, so you can go the company story and you can personalize at the beginning. You have that already ammunition to, so you go to the personal story.
Nice. Brad.
I think the big thing is like capturing the warm up and using that in the story for me, personally. Like the little like nuggets. I think who was it that said it best? Oh, where'd you go? Dylan, yeah. Dylan in our little group, he was just like he was giving great examples of how to tie the Better Business Bureau slot in, how to tie this slot in. So that was extremely helpful.
Good. All right, John Suarez.
Biggest takeaway for me was digging deeper into the warm up with the customer, being able to use that information to then personalize the company story, to then really take it home with them and increase your chances at closing the sale. Ultimately, that's definitely something that I'm going to be working on and trying to master for the future.
Perfect. Christian.
Yeah, for me, like a lot of people, I think it's just getting that practice in personalizing and finding which slides, like for each customer, maybe to personalize with. And then also, like Denise, I really, really like that transition into the other than price or payment. Just I'm going to definitely be using that.
Good. Carrie.
Yeah, I learned a lot about how to personalize the company story towards the customer, as well as making it a little personable towards you, trying to sell yourself to them. I think I need to learn more on the seaming tool. And I did a job and I did not seam it, so hopefully that all goes well. But anyway, yeah, and just learned a lot about making sure to implement all the correct questions as far as the closing, the pre-close, and all that.
Good. Dylan.
Yeah, not to sound like a broken record, but when Chris was in our group,
we were in Mexico playing the charity poker. I had pocket tens. My franchise owner had pocket queens, but he had pocket aces. Took the whole table. So warming up with him was pretty easy. But I realized, all we talked about was, what you do before, where you moved to, where'd you from. We talked about Brady, Cowboys. And I realized, even though I thought I was doing great with the warm up, I have no idea how he wants to spend his money or time and how to relate that to the company story. So this was kind of a newsflash for me. I thought I was excellent at warm ups, but if you need to be a little more specific with the warm up and see how you can have those fun conversations to build rapport, but at the same time find those little nuggets so that you can incorporate that back into the company story and use it as a leverage point to really sell the company.
Nice. All right, so for Dylan and Chris, I will share with you, it's hard to see, but you can see who I have on my contact list.
Is that your
So
uncle?
he is in the It's my dad.
Oh, really?
All right, Wendy and Courtney.
So for me, it was the time and money equation that your warm-up's not really done, and it's not really a warm-up unless you understand where they spend their time and money. That was huge for me.
I was actually going to say the exact same thing. It was that huge eye opener. Kind of thought I did pretty good with the warm up too. Found out getting more frivolous information instead of just real nuggets to use during the company story.
Good. Chris.
Yep, I concur, finding those nuggets and in the back of your mind, how are you going to translate it to the story? I think that's huge. And also, yesterday you talked about the pre-price and post-price and being a liar and not being a liar. And I think that transition question is good before you get to that post-price.
Nice. Let's see. Drew, what have you got?
I would say my biggest takeaway was all of the tablet work that we've done, especially the stairs. You showing us that even if it does have a landing in it, we don't have to do 2 separate stairs.
Yeah, okay, good. That's a time saver. Christine.
So 2 things too, personalizing the company story, but also I just feel like I haven't had enough tablet training. So there were like so many nuggets that you just went through. I was like, that's how you do that. That's how you do that. So it was good to see it. Maybe I did learn it in the beginning. You just don't remember because it's just a waterfall of information coming at you.
Yep.
But it was good to see that.
Nice. All right, Leanne.
I like the idea of digging deep, getting a lot of information, personal information from them to incorporate it into the company story and sort of make a connection with them between yourself and them, some commonality that you have.
Nice. All right. So let's see. Is Zuri with us? How about Isaac?
Yes.
Oh, Zuri's there. All right, Zuri, big takeaways from today.
Sorry, I had to come to urgent care with my kid. But the biggest takeaway for me, it was like on the breaking the ice. I only thought I was only making rapport with the customer and not getting those little nuggets that we can use it forward. So try to search for those while you're breaking the ice.
Nice.
That's a big one for me today.
Good. And Isaac.
Yeah, my biggest takeaways were the chance to practice deep diving on the warm up and using that to customize the company story. That was a game changer for sure. And I love the tablet tips as well.
Okay. Did I miss anybody? Big takeaways for the day today.
You missed John, who's been in and out.
All right, so let me go to Renee and then I'm going to John.
My takeaway today was a lot of the things you did in Salesforce in the tablet that I did not know. So seeing you go over those things, that was very informative, as well as how huge the company story is. It helps segue into the products, know a little bit more what the customer wants. So thank you.
Good. All right, John.
Yeah, I'd say my biggest takeaway is probably the tying in the warm up to the customer story. That's definitely something I need to work on. And making sure that I'm I'm having a good conversation with them, but it's a conversation that I'm controlling to get the information I need to tie into the company's story.
Nice. Okay. So this evening, you're all either running a customer appointment, you're meeting with your franchise owner, you're meeting with an ops coach, same as last night. Have the evaluation forms sent to me. I will look at them either late tonight or I'll look at them early tomorrow morning and go through everything. So I want to get them back tonight so that I have that and I'm not waiting on them. My challenge to you tonight is to take what you learned today and apply it. And it might actually, so when you do that, you might actually feel worse doing it today than you did yesterday. And what I mean by that is, like, you go to do the company story. Well, yesterday you did the company story and today you feel like you could do it a little bit better, but now you layer on an additional skill where you're trying to personalize it and it feels worse because this is the first time you've ever tried to do that, right? But don't be afraid. This week, I mean, unless you're like in a customer's home, if you're with a franchise owner or you're with an ops coach, this is the perfect time to trip all over yourself. Do it. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything today. So try something. Take this and try to personalize your company story. Try to get more information in the warm-up. Really try to press that envelope today. This is the golden opportunity to try this before you're sitting in front of the customer trying it for the first time. So that's the whole point of having these practices at night or in the afternoon and the evening. I am looking forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow. Remember, we start at 11 o'clock Eastern time, so adjust that according to what time zone you're in. We will start at 11 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. And tomorrow, I think I know what we're doing tomorrow, but it's going to depend on, I think I know what feedback I'm going to get tonight. So we'll see. If it's what I think it is, then I already know what we've got. If not, then I'll be resetting. But by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, we've got a path in place and we're good to go. Good stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, Arlen.
All right.
Thanks,
I will see you
Arlen.
guys tomorrow then. Yep. Hey, Owen, do you want to hang out for 5 more minutes and see if we can figure out what's going on with your tablet?